Good morning, everyone. This is Rama on Riding coming to you live from a beautiful sunny Sedona, Arizona on a Halloween day. For those of you who don't know Sedona, Halloween is Sedona's biggest holiday. We don't go for everything here in town, but Halloween is big, and there's been some memorable parties that I could tell you about given the time. Today, we are very fortunate to have Marty Klein on board. He is an author, published author with 3 books. His latest one was The Enlightened Gambler, which now is probably close to 2 years old now, I'm not sure. And it is an Amazon #1 bestseller. Marty is a special guy. And he's got a movement that he's created, the Blind Yoga Movement. And he is on to his next project, which is Why We Can't Serve. And I'm going to start this webinar with a little video that Marty has up on his Hatch Fund project site. And then we'll have Marty kind of talk a little bit about the project himself and anything else that comes up. So give me a moment. Let me see if I can do this. Yep, that didn't work quite yet. Let's try this. I'm working off of a different laptop today, so it's a little more confusing than usual to do things. Okay, let's share the screen. No, that's the one I want to share. Okay, you should see.
I lost my sight while serving the Air Force.
Hold on, let's get this to the start. Okay.
Hi. My name is Marty Klein, and I'm a blind veteran. I lost my sight while serving in the Air Force during the Vietnam era. I learned a lot over the past 40 years as a blind man, and now want to share with you and with the whole country some of my insights about the military, the disabled, and our returning wounded soldiers. And I would like to make a film about this. At 19, I was happy working as a weatherman in the Air Force, but unfortunately came down with a rare eye disease. After a couple of years and unsuccessful surgeries, I lost my vision completely. I was devastated. I received an honorable medical discharge from the Air Force in May 1970 while losing my sight. With no other options available, I was sent home. I was raised to believe that you might as well be dead if you lost your sight. You could only be a burden to your family as well as to society. I hated that image and defiantly fought that horrible picture for years. Now I know that's not who I am, but the ghosts of that conditioning still haunt me. In 1990, Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's been 25 years since that law was passed, and with the advances in technology, life has improved greatly for all people with disabilities. Over the past number of years, I wrote 3 books, 2 screenplays, produced a yoga program for blind people, and founded and led a holistic learning center in Tallahassee, Florida. I couldn't have done that years ago. People often tell me that I'm amazing for what I've accomplished, but I know that there are thousands of disabled people out there who are accomplishing amazing things every day.
Intelligent, enthusiastic, and committed people with disabilities aren't a burden on society. Instead, they're a good addition to the workforce in our country. Years ago, Marty discovered that our military was exempt from the ADA law. At this time, there are only 2 groups of people ineligible to join the military. There are the disabled and ex-convicts. All other groups are welcome. Obviously, we wouldn't want the disabled to be involved in combat roles, but at this time, there's nothing stopping people with disabilities from responsibly holding down a myriad of jobs in the military. Allowing the disabled the option of joining the armed forces would benefit thousands while raising the quality of life for disabled people, including disabled veterans. A policy change would make it possible for many wounded soldiers to remain in the military after rehabilitation at a meaningful job instead of being sent home with a permanent disability and few benefits. Recently, thousands of wounded soldiers, after being sent home and after struggling unsuccessfully with depression and other mental health issues, have committed suicide. The figures are staggering, and this is an ongoing tragedy. We can and we must do more for our disabled vets. They really need our help.
In 1970, disabled soldiers had no option. We were just sent home. I made it through that tough time, but it was nothing less than a living hell. That was then, but that's over now. But today can be the beginning of a more compassionate period in our country's history. We now have the opportunity to do the right thing, to really support our wounded troops, as well as help empower the disabled. This issue is so important to our wounded troops and to people with disabilities. So please join us by making a tax-deductible contribution to the project. Thank you.
Participant ID 50, meeting ID 996961633.
Okay, Marty, that was a wonderful video. So I wanted to thank you for actually getting up and, voicing your opinion, plugging into a project that can help, veterans all over the country. It is a very appropriate time with the troops coming back from Afghanistan and a lot of issues faced. I know we have some soldiers, ex-soldiers in our program that have faced challenges, and this is a wonderful thing to do for America. So, with that said, Marty, why now, and how did you get involved? Do you have partners with this, or is this a sole adventure that you're on?
Okay, so first of all, 20 years ago, I had this idea, but I didn't act on it because it wasn't pressing. But just recently, a few months ago, I heard how many veterans are committing suicide every day, and it was staggering to me. And I think the combination of people with disabilities not being allowed to join the military, plus the soldiers who are coming back being so depressed that they're killing themselves in crazy numbers every day, that motivated me to do the project. I don't have a lot of people right now working with me. I have 5 needs for the project. There's more veterans to get involved, more people with disabilities, organizations who want to support the effort, celebrities who'd like to support the effort, and people who are financially well off who'd like to back the project with some finances.
Marty, when you first contacted me about this project and told me what you were doing, I immediately assumed that you were using Kickstarter as your crowdfunding home, but it turns out that you're using Hatch Fund. And can you give a little insight into how that came about, why you chose them?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, Rama. Kickstarter, anybody who contributes to a program on Kickstarter, it's just a pure donation. But with Hatch Fund, they're a 501c3 not-for-profit organization supporting artists. And every contribution that's donated to my project is tax deductible. And I really wanted the contributions to be tax deductible.
You know, it does sound like a no-brainer if you ask me, so that was a good choice. I also read about the Hatch Fund, that they have coaches that help you prepare your project. Is that true?
Very similar to what you did with me, with helping me with my latest book. Very similar. Yes.
And, maybe just give a little bit more insight into what that actually means. All the people on the line certainly have, utilized me as a coach. But what does a coach do on Hatch Fund?
Well, basically, Dylan's the guy who I'm working with. He's my representative. And, excuse me, every week we have a phone call for about a half hour. And he lets me know what he's doing to help the project move forward. He's listening to what I'm doing to move forward. He's basically a cheerleader for me for where I'm not doing so well. He's given me ideas about ways to reach out to, articles for the newspaper, get on radio and TV with the project information. So he's been very supportive. And once we've gone, we are now officially public with our crowdfunding campaign. In a couple of weeks, they're going to send out a piece of information to all of their participants. So, he's helping me in many ways. Very similar to what, you guys did with Publish Now in my book. Very similar. I
just wanted to repeat this statistic that I did find. Hatch Fund boasts a 75% success rate. And as far as films, this year, there are going to be more crowd-funded films premiering at Sundance than any other year. So I think Marty's at the forefront of this trend, and I admire him for being there. Timing is everything, as he mentioned at the beginning. This is a long overdue idea that he's had, and I've known from experience that many times it's all about timing. And, I did a lot of internet things early on before the internet could really support them. And it seems like everything's coming around now to support a thing like this. Now, Marty, as far as this film goes that you're looking to create, what do you have someone that's going to film it for you? Have you gotten that far into the project?
The filmmaker who did the promotional video is working with me, and he's happy to be the filmmaker for the documentary. Yes. He's a local person in the Woodstock, Kingston area here in New York. He's done some good work, and I think he would be a fine filmmaker. My plan, I have a lot of ideas for the documentary, obviously, but first things first, we have to raise the money so we have the money to actually do the documentary. Once we have the money, we'll do the best documentary we can. Then we're going to try to align ourselves with a couple of organizations to support our efforts. And we're going to distribute the film as widely as possible. We have ideas about that. And we're going to do our best to try to legislate policy change in the government with this issue. And my fifth desire, my goal for the project is also to shift the culture around how people see people with disabilities. So that's a big one for me. I'd like to see the change.
It's a change that's overdue. There's no doubt about it. There has been progress made, but everything needs a push nowadays, and you need to really have an organization behind you. Now, have you contacted any veterans groups at this point in time?
I've contacted some veterans groups. I've contacted some groups that support disability liberation issues, and they're very happy that I'm doing the work. But most of their money and attention is spent on taking care of the veterans who are right now struggling. So my issue is not about helping them. My issue is trying to change the system so we have less and less veterans who are struggling. And I'm finding it a little bit challenging to get an organization to back us up.
Political change is a hard game to play, so I'm not sure if I'm envious of you that way, but I am supportive. I think that, this is how things get changed is through grassroots organizations, people with good ideas. And it sounds like this is a good idea. Now, I'm going to put up your Facebook page here. Let's see if I can get that up there.
Which one do you have up there?
I think it's called Why
Can't We Serve.com?
Why Can't We Serve? Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook, yeah.
Make sure I get it here. As I say, I'm having a little trouble. There we go. Okay, so this is the Facebook page that Marty's got. Everyone can go there and like it, and at least start to get the support to Marty that ultimately we can give him. I think the video that I had shown. Let's see if this moves right over to that or not. No, I have to go back out. The video that I showed is, let me get this back up on the screen. Okay, this is the actual Hatch Fund website, hatchfund.org, and if you actually do search "Why Can't We Serve," you'll come up with this website link. It shows the amount of money Marty's trying to get. He's got 72 days left, and he's 2% funded at this point. So we all want to provide what we can. I think that we can all use a little bit of tax deduction. So that was a pretty smart move, Marty. And, I guess, the question that I really have, and I don't know if you've got a good answer for this, Marty. I mean, this has been a project of yours for quite a time. You've probably thought about doing different kind of things. But what really made you get started now? What made you actually, put one foot in front of the next here and go for it?
I was just so deeply moved when I heard that 22 veterans commit suicide every day. And for every day, every half hour, a vet attempts suicide every day. Like today, 22 veterans are going to commit suicide today. That's crazy. And it's so upsetting to me that I think that was the motivating factor to really get this thing moving. It's just not acceptable, and nobody's doing anything about changing the system. Like what I think about when it comes to cancer, cancer is a horrible disease, and we have so many organizations trying to help people who are already victimized with cancer. But we got a whole program to get people to stop smoking, to change the environment so that less and less people will come down with cancer. We don't have anything in place right now to stop the influx of veterans who are struggling. My idea would change that a whole lot. And that's what I'm hoping for.
So, what do you see as the solution? I mean, if you could define it, what would it be?
Well, first of all, that we would never go to war. that would help. But if we are going to go to war, I'd like to see the military back our soldiers so that if they do come back with an injury or a wound or a permanent disability, where they can still function and be lucid, that they would have a place to still have a career in the military. Right now, there is no opportunity to do that. I'd also like it to be where 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds who happen to be disabled, who are really intelligent, responsible, and committed, will have the opportunity to join the military if they wanted to. It's not about pro-military here. It's about pro-disabled liberation and empowerment. And we need to make that change in this country. It's time with all the high-tech, advances. It's time, and the military is just behind the times in this area.
So, do you feel that this is something that can be achieved through elections, or is this a legislative change, or have you gotten to think it through that way yet?
I would guess that if once the documentary is made and it's out there, there's going to be a groundswell of sympathy from the American public to make the change. Just like there was a groundswell for women to be part of the military, for people who are sexual orientation to still have a place in the military. There's no rational reason why people with disabilities should not be allowed to be in the military in non-combat positions.
Have you, being from Arizona, we've all heard of John McCain's, ordeal when he was a prisoner. Have you contacted him, or have you specifically contacted any of the politicians that might be good allies for you for this project?
I am currently waiting to have an appointment with my local congressman. I heard he's very supportive to veterans issues. I think he would want to support this issue. I wanted to give him first crack at it before I start contacting senators and congressmen, but that's definitely in the plan for the documentary, to have interviews with congressmen and senators who would like to see this, go through.
Do you have any, co-partners that, are disabled military veterans that are working with you, or are you kind of working alone in this endeavor?
I have a few people right now locally that are supportive and are in there with me, but this is so much bigger than me, Rama. I am the creator of the idea, but I need lots of people all over the country to be supportive to the project, for things to go, to really make a difference here, because it's like trying to make the military change their policy. It's like, it's a big deal, It's not that easy.
No, it's a difficult task, and as I say, I admire anyone that's willing to take on something like this for the betterment of our society. I had no idea that people with disabilities were not able to join the military. One of my favorite TV shows called Covert Affairs, and there is a blind computer expert on there, but I guess that's not realistic in the real world. So that kind of is a little shocking from my standpoint.
Yeah, most people are stunned when they hear that news. Yeah.
Well, I want to open this forum here for others to ask questions and lend their support. And of course, I always have to go to my buddy Tom Pitts here, because he is a veteran. And so I'm going to unmute you first, Tom, and just have you say a few things.
Okay. Well, hey Marty, thanks for what you're doing. You're an inspiration.
Well, thanks for being willing to listen to it.
Yeah, 'cause I give up 4 or 5 times a year. Have to come back.
Yeah.
This is so frustrating, and it needs a lot of perseverance. To change the military from I think more of a service concept to a service concept from a war concept. I think that might be key to it, because I think we want, especially draftees, and we need to realize a 2 or 3 year commitment or 4-year enlistment is like a lifetime commitment anyway.
Yeah.
What am I trying to say here? Oh, yeah. And I was just thinking of a related problem, specifically the medics, the combat medics.
Right.
When they get out, they're not certified to serve as EMTs.
Right.
They can't get a job. They have to go through training.
Right.
To be certified to work as an emergency response. And there doesn't seem to be crossover there. And also in support of your idea, in the Army, 1 in 7 is in the infantry on the front lines.
Right.
So 6 out of 7 jobs are non-combatant. So there's plenty of room.
That's right. And how many of them are done on computers these days, right?
Yeah. And there's so much being contracted by the military.
Yeah.
So that might be an avenue to explore, because I think if you're a veteran, the companies who have military contracts have some sort of obligation to hire veterans. And that's probably not policed well. Maybe I could research that. So there's another avenue of that might be a beginning spot, a spot to begin.
Yeah.
Like you were. Anybody retiring from the military should have first dibs on jobs to military contractors, disabled or not.
Tom, this whole project, if the military could show a little flexibility and allow this policy change, it's a win-win situation for everybody involved. It would take pressure off the Veterans Administration. It would give all these soldiers who come back with wounds a chance to have a career still in the military, and all their families would benefit from that. And the military would actually benefit from the diversity of having people with disabilities in the military. And somewhere down the road, I think when these young guys come into the military, and there's somebody who's working in the military who had a wound from a combat thing, they would have a chance to really have a connection with them, and maybe we wouldn't be so excited about going to wars down the road.
There's a very valid point that we wouldn't be so easy to get involved militarily if we understood our commitment to the people in the military is a life. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a lifetime commitment. And know that anybody you send into a combat zone, you have a lifetime commitment to those people because it changes them for life.
And this would give the military a chance to say, we really stand behind our wounded soldiers by allowing them to stay in the military and have careers if they were still capable of doing that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll follow you on that. And you got my name and number if you need anything.
Thank you. I'm open. I'm very happy. Anybody wants to support the effort, I'm very happy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tom, I've got one more question. You've done a fair bit of research, through the effort of promoting your book. You may have encountered some organizations that might be, helpful for Marty. Anything come to mind right off the bat?
There's just one, Veterans to Work. I'll email him that. They're researching how to put jobs to work, or put veterans to work in the civilian front.
Yeah.
So that might be some help. But no, Marty's pretty much the first I've heard of saying, hey, we have a valuable asset here, and you're just shiving them out. So I'll keep my eye out, though. That makes more sense than it ever has. They're trained military. They wanted to be military. The military should not take advantage, but use that asset.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
So one of the things I'd like to put out to everybody, it's like, if you want to support the project, one of the ways that you can do this is to just send this information out to, your database. Let people know that this exists. My website, whycan'tweserve.com, has the video, the promotional video on it, and lots of information. So anybody who's listening on this webinar, if you just wanted to help out by sending whycan'tweserve.com to your friends, you just never know who wants to really help out and step up. And I really appreciate that visibility. So thanks for doing that.
Victoria, I've unmuted you.
Oh, great. Marty, I really acknowledge you for what you're doing. I just wanted to let you know that you would think that the same government that provides workmen's compensation for people who are not in the military. I mean, I had a huge injury in 1990, and I got my master's degree paid for, and I got to re-career into what I'm doing now. And it was devastating at the time. I can see the benefit now, but you would think that the military would have some type of a program. It was called the light duty program. So rather than doing what I was doing ultrasound on pregnant women, and I had an injury on my arm because of the repetitive motion. And I just worked, in the office, and I just did office work until I healed.
Right.
And then, so you would think that the military would, duh.
That's exactly what a lot of people say, like, duh. It's so interesting you said that.
Yeah. God.
Right now, the military, the rule is that if you are wounded in combat, the only way you can stay in the military is if you heal completely from your wounds and you can do everything you were able to do before the wound.
Well, that really hurts my heart to hear that.
It's the way it is.
Yeah. I have a client I'm working with right now, and he just came back from combat, and he's trying to emerge himself into, a civilian job. And he came to me just to align him with that possibility. And you would think that there would be an organization that could sit down with these people and take the skills that they needed in combat and just reword them to indicate that they have that skill, even though it was on the, out in the field. They still have that talent or that skill that they could use in another part of society or an organization,
Yeah, it's like changing swords into plowshares, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I've got so much to say, but one more thing. And another thing that hurts my heart is that there is yet to be a Department of Peace among this country. There's a fantastic documentary. It's called Admissions. It's ADMISSIONS. And it just talks about how forgiveness between countries can create, and they was hoping that this documentary would then create a Department of Peace, and it is yet to happen. I mean, there's a Department of War,
It's good to wish for that. It's a good thing.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to watch that, I've watched it at least 20 times now, that documentary, and it's really it gets me every time. So
I'll watch it. Thank you.
I thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Marty, I think one of the big issues that you face is that, some of what you're talking about just seems so obvious. And I think that, we're very uneducated into what the actual situation is. And it would seem that that would be one of the important components of your program, is to actually, let everyone know how bad the situation really is. And that's an uphill battle because, we've all signed on to in America that we all have a perspective of what that really means. And I think that we're, in our current political situation, we're beginning to find out that, oh my gosh, we don't look after the people that need to be looked after. And, I just, I'm not a military person. I was lucky that way in that I was not drafted into the Vietnam War. I was close. And who knows what would have happened if I had been. But I think our education level on what really is going on needs to increase. And I think that that's one of your uphill battles.
Yes, it's an uphill battle, but I still think that somehow I believe the tide is turning where we're becoming a little bit more compassionate toward other groups of people. For all the people that are allowed to be in the military now, It wasn't that way 20 years ago for, gay, lesbian, bisexual people. It is now. Years ago, women were not even allowed in the military, but that got changed, So it's just a time thing. I think right now the time is right for me to be pushing this issue and making it visible to the public in our country. And then we'll see what happens. If there's a groundswell, we'll have an effect. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I think that you will be very successful. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay.
I have one.
Okay, then.
Yes, I'm next after her.
Marty, I've been enjoying listening to your project here. I just saw something on television that just stunned me the other day, and it was a commercial, and it's the first time I'd seen it, and it's called Green Light a Vet, and they're asking people to put a green light in their house somewhere or outside. Mm-hmm. And all around the planet, they're asking people to do this, not just here, but it's a movement that they're starting here. I was amazed. I thought, oh, how incredible is this to bring this consciousness right to the forefront. And then, of course, they scan through different areas and cities where green lights are in the high rises, in little houses.
That's great.
Over. And that's something that you might want to contact, because they're putting out that consciousness of green light is like, go, move, pay attention. So that might be something that you might want to look into.
I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. And one of the things about this documentary that I'm planning, I don't want it to be one that is depressing and trying to, evoke sympathy from people. I want it to be inspiring, to let people know that there are so many people with disabilities who are achieving so many things today on the planet. And there's no reason why this group of people would not add to the military.
One more thing in your documentary, to spice it up even more, what I was thinking when I saw it was to get interviews from other vets, even like Tom here. And just a quick say, okay, I'm going to give you like 30 seconds or 45 seconds on why this needs to be supported.
Well, that's all going to be in the documentary, definitely.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Ashira, let me unmute you. You unmuted yourself. Okay, perfect.
Hi. Yeah, I bought. Sorry about my voice. I heard about. I can barely talk. I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. Anyway, I heard about that green light thing a couple of days ago for the first time. I thought that was interesting. I wonder how much it helps people to feel good or whatever. But so sort of along the same lines, I not to be the buzzkill, but what can I help it? I feel like I'm really surprised that nobody's brought up what seems to me really obvious, which is maybe it is just the times, maybe it is just that the military is behind the times, and this is kind of like gay rights or women coming into the military, but I don't think so. I really doubt it. I would think that the military didn't just overlook this by mistake, but that they don't want disabled veterans, especially ones who, of course, obviously got hurt, in combat, to meet younger people, because they want people who are gung-ho for war to go out there and not worry about what it's going to be like to themselves or hurt other people.
I agree with you on some level, but it's too bad. I'm doing this because I'm trying to make a difference, and if it happens to be where the military has to become a little bit more compassionate because the American people want to see that happen, good for us.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as you've considered it, which I just didn't get that feeling, then great.
Yes. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jill, I'm going to unmute you.
Okay. Marty, thank you so much. Have you contacted Wounded Warriors?
Yes, I have. And I have not been able to connect with anybody higher up in the Wounded Warriors organization to actually have a conversation. That would be useful.
Yeah. And I was just, I enjoyed your film, and I was just wondering, how about doing a really short contemporary video, like maybe 30 seconds, 60 seconds on the Middle East with visuals of the Middle East.
You know, there's 100 directions to go with this, and my direction is pretty clear. I want to support disabled liberation in our country. I want to see people with disabilities having a better life, having more options. People who are born with disabilities and people who acquire disabilities from combat. Mm-hmm. And my effort is pretty much about that. So I know there's 100 possibilities that would all be useful. I don't know if in this case, if that would serve me for my project.
So it's more of a general disability that you want the government to just to hire people who have disabilities. It doesn't really have any, it's not to do with people who have been injured in war. That's just a part of it.
No, that is a part of it. But the idea is that I don't want to put the military down for all the horrible atrocities that happen because of war, because that's not, for me, that's not useful.
That's not what I meant. I meant to make it contemporary and to make it something that's in people's faces, to make it present. I was just thinking to do the Middle East to make it more present.
Well, I would be happy to be interviewing some wounded soldiers who were in Afghanistan and Iraq. No question about that. I will be doing that in the documentary.
Yeah. I was just thinking it might be a way to get money if you put it, just did a little short, like 30 seconds, 60 seconds on YouTube, or just showed that to wounded warriors.
It's an idea. I have 1,000 ideas. I have to prioritize all my ideas. It's a good one though. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, good luck. It's definitely a lifetime vision.
You'll hear about it because we're getting the word out, and whycan'tweserve.com, it's out there, and, you'll hear about it. I think we're going to be pretty successful, I believe.
That's great. My mother was legally blind for the last 9 years of her life. Mm-hmm. It didn't change her one bit.
Yeah, good for her.
She told me what to do and told me where to turn. Even though she's blind. Turn right.
Right.
I'm driving the car.
Thank you.
Yeah, inspiring.
Marty, I think that you've identified some real interesting issues that affect us as authors as well. You do kind of have to stick to your guns and stick to your orientation, or you can scatter and dissipate really easily. And I think that you're author, being an author, I think you actually have a good handle on that, and it's kind of a step-by-step process. The other thing that you just said, and I think it was you, or it may have been Jill, I'm not sure, but the term disabled liberation.
That's me. Yeah.
Sounds like a really good branding, component. Even a project, like this does need branding components so that the words get out there and there's a body of work that's attached to it. And that might be a very successful branding component in your project.
I will use it a lot. Yeah. Also, Rob, I wanted to mention that, the crowdfunding idea was really new to me. And it's not one that I wanted to do initially, because I don't like asking anybody for any money or anything. That's just not my thing. But through the process of doing this, I'm noticing that I'm becoming more emboldened, more assertive, and more focused on getting this to happen rather than worrying about hurting anybody's feelings. So I think for any of your authors, if they want to do a crowdfunding campaign to help raise money to do anything with their books in the future, it's a growth process, even though it might not look like that initially. It's a very empowering thing to do, albeit uncomfortable.
Well, Marty, thanks for sharing that. I think that we all face that a little bit. I also don't like asking anyone for anything, and that may or may not serve me, but that's just the way, I guess I was brought up. And sometimes it does take stepping out of your comfort zone to accomplish some goals that are bigger than you. And I think you're a role model for that, for all of us to see. So I do appreciate, getting that kind of reflection and saying, wow, here's Marty who's actually trying to do something good for the world, or our country, our military, our disabled veterans. And that takes a lot of guts. It really does. So, big ups from my standpoint. Anyone else have a comment, question? Donna, let me unmute you here. Okay, you're unmuted, Donna.
Good morning, everybody. And I want to thank Marty and anybody else that's on this webinar. If you've served, if you're a vet, thank you for doing that, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Marty, I love your idea. I think it's phenomenal, and I agree with you that if you're going to, when you believe in something, you have to believe in it 100% and not let anybody or anything stop you. And you certainly have a worthy cause. On your website, do you have a letter that is set up so it could go to different congressmen and people could sign it and then send it?
That's a great idea. I don't have that right now, and I'll consider it for sure.
And then also people could take, copy and paste, hopefully, that letter and send it out to their database to send it in to the specific, people that you in Congress that you feel are statewide, located in your state or whatever state you think could really help you.
Again, I agree with you, and as I'm hearing you speak, I think this is down the road a little bit.
Okay.
I think that when I get together with a couple of not-for-profit organizations who are aligned with me, then we can do a lot of reaching out to the public, to call congressmen, to sign petitions and all that. That's down the road a little bit, though. I do think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, but thank you again.
Marty, that's a really astute awareness. To have the support of some bigger organizations will give you more legs with a letter like that. It will show that there is support. I know that we just faced a situation here in Sedona where they're trying to, they still are trying to turn Sedona into a national monument, and one of the goals of the organization was to get our city council to support them. Well, they weren't successful, and that's gonna hurt their ability to move forward. So to find some of those organizations that have a little bit more power and oomph than just an individual is a worthy idea. Tom Pitts has another question or comment here. Let me unmute him. Okay,
Yes. So, Marty, your focus now is to get that documentary made, and that would be your best path to get this project rolling is through the documentary. Am I hearing that right?
Yes. 20 years ago, I tried to do a class action suit against the military because they would not allow people with disabilities in the military. Yeah. But the lawyers I spoke to said it would take years and millions of dollars. So I dropped it back then. But this way, with a documentary, you get to reach the public. And if the public is moved, the politicians respond.
Okay, so the documentary is a great way. Now, I've got your Facebook page, but I cannot find a website, a .com.
Why can't we serve.com? There's no apostrophe. Why can't we serve.com?
Okay, just straight out. Okay.
Yeah.
And Marty, if you want to give everyone your email address so that they can contact you, that would probably be helpful.
Okay, it's Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, 48, the year I was born, at H as in hotel, V as in Victor, C as in Charlie, .rr.com. Marty48 at hvc.rr.com.
Thank you, Marty. Anyone else that has a question or comment? Dawn, let me unmute you. Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Marty. It is extremely moving, and I have not had much relationship to the military, but I grew up near West Point and Stewart Field in New York. I'm wondering actually if you're in New York, you have the same email as me.
I'm in Woodstock, New York.
Cool. Okay, so I grew up in Newburgh.
There you go. Yeah.
Still have our home there. So, you know, it was kind of surrounding me, and I think your point is just so well taken in terms of it not being about the military as much as those with the disabilities being able to continue serving is, I'm wondering, I'm sitting here just kind of thinking about it, and I'm a little random in the moment, but, you know, I was thinking about a mind map. And I was thinking about mind mapping with some people that you know who would have an acquaintance with all the different jobs. You know, what are a lot of the jobs in the military where disabled people could serve?
Mm-hmm.
And really begin to put that with friends into a visual that could be presented at speaking engagements. You know, I was sitting here wondering, who could you go and speak to, you know, even groups like Rotary, or I don't know. I mean, there are a million groups in different cities and towns, but to really get this message out to groups with people like me who don't have the military experience.
I'm totally for it. I agree with you. It's just a matter of time and energy and getting the word out as much as we can. Yeah.
Well, we'll help you spread the word.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Very important. Thank you.
And, you know, Marty, I will send you the link of this webinar so that you can have your web person post it to your website and embed it if you want. So it's a very simple process.
Wonderful. It'll go right up on the website when you send it to me. Thank you, Rama.
Sounds good. Anyone else have a question or comment? There are a couple of people that really have been inspired by what you're doing, Marty. Valley says you're very inspirational, and I just wanted to share that. Anyone else have any comments or questions for Marty?
Yeah, I do. Again, Ashira. I really like your voice. I think it's really great. And I think that you're welcome, if you do anything like with radio or podcast or CD or something, that would be very good.
It's funny you say that because I'm a musician, but I have a cold, and I just I've been told that I have a nice radio voice also, but right now you're hearing a little bit of a scratchy throat, but I'm glad that you still like it.
Yeah, I still do, but I also heard it before from the video because I watched that before today. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sweet.
Anyone else before we sign off? You know, Marty, I'm going to contact a couple of people that I know that have internet radio shows and see if I can hook them up with you, and you can get the word out through a different audience base.
Thank you.
And you've got your job, you've got your work cut out for you. I know that, and you know, I found personally that we all need a focus like this in life. You know, this is what makes life worth living. And you know, there are far too many of my friends, you know, that really are just going through life. You know, they're doing their job, but they really don't have a passion and a focus, and they're not necessarily working to make the world better. That may not be the role for all of us on the planet, but I know that there are quite a few people that would benefit from having a similar focus with a wonderful goal in mind. I still, that disabled liberation is really a powerful term, and I encourage you to hashtag that and to utilize that as a branding component as you move forward. Those are the little things that I've found go a lot further than we could possibly ever imagine.
Thank you. I'll use it. I will.
Sounds good. Anyone else before we sign off today? Well, everyone, have yourself a wonderful Halloween. And thank you again, Marty, for stepping up and making the world a better place.
And thanks for having me, Rama, and having this opportunity. I really appreciate it a lot.
Thanks again, Marty. We'll be in touch, and I'll send you the recording once it's up.
Great. Take care.
Rama, real quickly, were you able to pass on what I sent you to the formatter?
I have. I haven't heard back yet.